Hey guys, I can't tell you how excited I am to be making this video today, and not because the video itself is that exciting, but because of the fact that it means that I finally accomplished something. Now, back in episode 10, you saw me building most of this thing, maybe not the solar panels yet, so I'll show you more of that today. But you saw me put the pole in the ground and you heard about what I was doing. And just to recap, basically what I was doing is trying to get internet to my house, because my house is way back in the woods behind these other properties, and I couldn't get cable run to that far back, so I had to come up with something different. And I'm going to show you more about that, and pretty excited. I'm pretty stoked that I'm going to be able to upload this video to you all in a matter of minutes instead of all night long. So hang in there. I'm going to show you. This is pretty cool. Get my electronics box together and mounted up. There's been quite a few changes since I originally did this. I originally did my first video, and I basically had to move some things around, change some things. The heater was way too hot, so I had to create, I don't know if you can see it. There's a radiating grill up underneath, taped to that little heater that was just too hot. If I put it near plastic, it would have melted it. And then I created a kind of an area to keep the air, the hot air, moving up onto the modem. And I have the temperature sensor on here, a bunch of other things hooked up that we talked about. One big change though is I had to go to 2 big batteries. The other ones I had just weren't holding a charge, and hopefully these work better, but it caused me to kind of make a goofy mess of my beautiful custom shelf that I'd built before, but it'll work. So anyway, I wanted to just show you where we were. I'm getting ready to put it up here, and of course I've got the solar panel up already, and the nano beam transmitters up there. So stick with me, we're going to keep working on this. All right, let's see. I've got it all hooked up now and set up and running. It's pulling power. The modem's running. Thermostat is up and running. Everything else is in place. All the wires are up on the solar panel. Little fan cover. I put a little caulking all around. It'll turn clear. It's white right now, but when it dries fully, it'll be clear. And tied all the wires off. So I think we're ready to try it, but it looks like it's draining the battery, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. I'm a little nervous. We'll find out though. Anyway, so I'm still at it, and we'll see if this works. Alright, so I don't know if you can hear this right now, but there's a little bit of noise coming out of this guy, and it's because it's regulated by a thermostat, and it was getting a little warm in here. So let me show you what we've got here. We've got, obviously you saw the solar panels up there, and some spider webs. I get those for free. I've got up on the top, there's a nano beam receiving end. This is hooked up to power. So I've got a couple giant batteries here that are running in series to make them 24 volt. and then a step down from 24 to 12. And the reason I have that is because the fans just kicked off. The nano beams take 24 volts PoE, so I've got a little way to inject power right here into it out of the 24 volts. I've also got a solar, really hard to see well, but that's my solar power controller, and that basically just makes sure that the batteries are staying charged, and then once they're fully charged, then it redirects a lot of the power from the solar through my system going on. Anyway, batteries, controller, transformer, thermostat, heater, fans, temperature probe, and most important, modem. That's it. Everything here is inside the box. Nice waterproof ceiling, and then of course I put mesh, really fine mesh screens on here to keep the bugs out so that they aren't building nests in here. And it's all mounted on a backboard. So we talked about this in the first video, but I just wanted you to see what it really looks like. And this thing is really slick. I'm super happy with it. That's it. I wanted you to see what this thing, not beautiful, but very functional. And we're gonna talk more about what's going on from here. All right, so one of the reasons I wanted to give you a little bit of a rundown of the what was inside that white box, basically the brains of the whole operation that I built. I had originally, you'll notice the backboard that I had up there was pretty big, because I originally thought there was going to be an electrical unit going in there, and it would, feed power up, and I had step down transformers for the 24 and the 12 volt from 120 AC. But as it turns out, they were going to charge me about $4,500, and it would probably be about 4 to 6 months, they said, before they would actually get out here to be able to put the power in. And so based on that kind of money, and then it'd still be $50 a month. So I was like, definitely not going that route. So I came up with this whole other design, which, it's cool. It took me a lot of hours, a lot of time, a little bit of money. I don't know exactly how much I have in it, but you remember from the first video that, or if you go back and watch it now, I had a bunch of smaller batteries set up, and they just they didn't work out at all. That wasn't a good setup, so I ended up moving up to these bigger batteries. And the solar controller that I had in it before was not very good either. The batteries drained down so quickly for some reason, and the controller then started thinking it was a 12 volt system instead of a 24 volt system. So even though there's plenty of sun, it would take those two giant batteries and only get them up to 12 volts. So that was going to kill them. So anyway, I put that new controller in, which really wasn't much more expensive, like $39 maybe. The other 31, I think, and the other one was like 18. So this one worked out great. In fact, it has a built-in 12 volt step down already, which I didn't realize when I bought it. So there's two little ports in there. It's really cool. Anyway, so the challenge of this whole operation was the fact that the coax that they run for cable TV or cable internet, really they only go about 100 to, I think they go up as high as 300 feet maybe, but I was about 850 feet back from the road. So you've heard the spiel, you know I did it. Wasn't sure if it was going to work. I knew these nano beams are really cool. They go up to supposedly go up to 2 miles with a line of sight, so you'd have to get them up pretty high. But though easy a mile. So the 600 foot distance I had was nothing, and I say 600, I know I said 850, but my property line to follow the road to actually dig up and put something on the ground would be 850, but as the crow flies, it's only about 600 feet. So that's because I'm shooting wireless beams across two different neighbors' yards, two different properties. So anyway, that works out really well. And then at the house, so there's another nano beam. I didn't really show you the house, but there's not much there other than out of that nano beam plugs into a PoE injector so that I get power. And I've got a cable, a Cat 6 burial cable that goes about, I think it's about 200 feet. So that's from the woods underground up into the house, and then that plugs directly into my my home router firewall. And that's obviously I want, even though I'm encrypting everything that's coming from the first dish to the second dish, I still want to make sure that when it gets to the house, I still have a good firewall in place, just to be protective. Part of my job is I'm working from home. Though I'm in secure VPN tunnels and everything, I still need to make sure that my home is well secured for my job, for the work I do that isn't YouTube. It's the real work that pays for it. So anyway, so basically the hard work was figuring out how to make all the solar stuff work well, because it's got to last about 3 to 4 days. And that's where I'm most nervous in the wintertime. If we have 3 or 4 really cloudy days, and the power drains on this too much, or if it's really cold and it starts running the heater and that drains more. Although those heaters are super efficient and way too hot. That's why I built that covering, because originally I was going to stick the heater right on the modem. They're so hot it'd melt the plastic right away, so I had to build it back on that radiating shield, which is crazy. So but hopefully I won't even need those much. Here in Central Virginia, it doesn't get, I don't think it gets that cold. That modem should be good until probably about 10 or 15 degrees, and then it might start having challenges. So but anyway, if it goes 3 or 4 days, my plan is to simply go up and put a charger on those batteries. I'll find another way, either hook it to my car or my UTV and let it charge up, or I'll have some kind of charging solution for it to catch it back up until until there's enough sun to come back. So and if that fails, or if my internet drops for some reason, I still have a little Verizon MiFi, a little hotspot, which is a nice little unit, and it'll run at least all my wireless stuff in the house, and it's $20 a month. The problem is that it caps out at 15 gigabit, and I go through that in about 3 days with work, well, in about a week with work. So it's a good backup plan for having a few days of being out of service. And for $20 a month, it's really reasonable, and then I could still use it for other, when I'm at other places where I need to be able to pop open a computer. And so that works great. But anyway, that's the plan. That's the way it's working. So far, the speeds are pretty decent at the pole. So I paid for the cheapest one, right? I told you before I was paying $100 a month for the MoFi wireless solution that I've got in the house. That's unlimited internet, but the speeds they're up and down all the time, and often the upload speed is well under a meg per second, and I've had times like one video I did that was only about 15 minutes that I needed to upload, and these are 1080p videos, these aren't 4K videos. It took me 3 days or more. At night, I just let it run all night long, and then in the morning, I'd have to, start it up again. And so it was getting very frustrating. So anyway, this is Comcast now, $39 a month, 200 meg, and when I run speed tests, I'm getting about 180, 160, so not bad at the pole. At the house, I'm a little bit lower, so I know that I need to dial those dishes in right now. They are really sensitive to not only being able to point right directly at each other, which is really hard to tell at 600 feet away, because these things are only 4 inches or 5 inches in diameter. So doing that's a little tricky. I've got to get those lined up a little bit, so I can probably get a lot better speeds. But I'll tell you what, 120, 180 is phenomenal compared to what I had before. I know I used to have super high speed with fiber before I moved out in the country, but once you're in the country, boy, that feels like just so fast right now. So that's why I'm excited. The video itself is a bonus because of the fact that I can't tell you what I went through. I don't even know how many. I stopped tracking the calls. I probably had 17 calls into Comcast. I talked to different people, sometimes 3 different people on the same call, and they would take all the same information again because my house didn't exist on the map. They said it wasn't. So if it wasn't in the computer, I wasn't real. I tracked down a guy on the street that was out here hooking up another house near me, and gave my sob story. He was really nice, and finally let me I wrote down all the information. He took it to his boss, and eventually they got it into the computer system so that they said, yes, this house does exist and this address does exist. And then beyond that, it dawned on me that Xfinity has stores, retail centers. So I went into one and got a real person, and Gloria, and she's like, I see you in the system now, so we can make this work, and literally got them out there the next day. So Boy, I'll tell you, I've bitched and complained about Comcast and Xfinity because of this one type of situation for sure, and I know other people have challenges with them, but when you actually interact with a person, they're really nice. The guy, Phil, that came out to the house was super nice. He first looked at this and said, "What are you trying to do here?" He's like, I'm not sure what's going on here. What are you trying to do? But he listened, and within 30 minutes we were up and online, and he was terrific. And he's like, "This is pretty cool." He said, "I don't have this either. I'm set back from the road, so maybe he's going to want to try this too. We'll see." It's not as simple as it looks, but it's pretty exciting to see it work, especially since it was like most of my projects, it was up here in my head. Didn't really know for sure if it would work, other than sheer determination, and put a lot of hours. I don't even know how many hours. I mean, I think I spent probably close to 40 hours, 30 to 40 hours, just trying to configure the setup once we got the internet to the box to get it technically working, because of the fact that I didn't realize at the time, but the modem will assign only one DHCP address. I don't know why, but it only assigns one. So it took me a while to figure out that it was assigning to the access point that was mounted up on the pole, and that was it. It couldn't assign any more addresses. And I had static addresses out there, but it will only allow one address. So anyway, I eventually figured out that if I made that access point nano beam up by the road into instead of just being just a bridge access point, instead I made it into a SOHO router and a small home or office, a small office or home office. Whoa, somebody's doing a little target practicing. All right, maybe I'll pause for a minute and come back, because I think we're getting a lot of gunshots here. So, country living though, right? All right, well, I'll wrap it up. So anyway, it's working great. I'm really excited about it, and I'm happy to bring it to you. So hopefully you find this interesting, and if you are serious about trying to build something like this, you'll want some help. I don't know that I want to be in this business, but I could probably help you put together a parts list and help you through some of the tricky parts that I figured out and save you a little time. But it's pretty cool. Anyway, reach out to me in the comments. For most of you, this is probably boring, but if you're techie and you love this idea of being able to do really high-speed wireless, those things are supposed to move up to 5 gigabit per second. I've only got 200 megabit internet service, so I might up it later, but I assumed way out here in the country that 200 would be stretching it as it was, so why pay more for the speed that'll probably be below 200 anyway. But that's good enough, so I'm excited. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. As always, I love sharing this stuff with you. I hope I love hearing from you too. The comments are great, and I try to reply to every person pretty quickly. Anyway, if you haven't already, subscribe. Got more projects coming for sure, and thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.